Welcome in, folks. Welcome in. Good to see you today. Hopefully everybody is having a great weekend. I just finished up the members only stream. We covered some interesting police body cam stories. Police officer herself was shoplifting this time, right? Not cool, right? I like to cover the, cover law enforcement. Then you got law enforcement officer getting arrested, right? But hey, we got to be fair. We got to be fair. One thing about this channel, I'm always going to keep it fair. Balanced, maybe not. I'm willing to put my finger on the balance on occasion, but I try to keep it fair. All right, so what do we got for today? Today is hopefully going to make up the missed stream for you folks this week. I did one last weekend, doing one this weekend. Just had a lot, some stuff really came up, some stuff with the family. Everything's okay, but it just was a bit of a stressful situation last minute yesterday, so I had to cancel that. But hey, we're back. We're running it today. Better late than never, right? And you're gonna get that Gore World content, at least as best I can do it. So what do we got planned for today? I actually have a special planned in the sense that an old interview of Rosie was uncovered. A fellow reaction channel. I put it in the description of this video. I posted the link in there as well. Let me see. The name of the channel is Quirky Moments. Shout out Quirky Moments. I'm going to post their link again. Turn down this music a little. Quirky Moments posted an old interview Rosie did with a feeder. The fellow calls himself Ohio BBW Network. And one thing we've learned from watching the Gorals is BBW is a term that is usually associated with porn, usually associated with sex work, that kind of thing. Not always, of course, but typically when you got some 600-pound woman selling herself sexually, she's going to refer to herself as an SSBBW, as Rosie calls herself. That's something I've learned. Stands for supersize. The SS is for supersize. It is pretty interesting. It's one of those things where he doesn't give a lot of pushback, but in a way that's good because he lets Rosie just kind of really spill her opinion. And it's going to be interesting also how it contrasts with the interview she did on We Are All Insane, where she talks about how she was groomed into feederism. It was unwatchable. All right. Well, that's a great intro. I mean, it's pretty bad without a reactor. Let's say it like that. Just watching it straight up, it is pretty unwatchable. I'll give you that. But with a reactor, hopefully I can make it a little more palatable. Absolutely, Pussy Go Lightly. And great to hear you having a good day. Hopefully that laundry goes smoothly. Yeah, the interview by itself is pretty rough go. But I think there's some interesting tidbits in there. So we're going to give it a watch. And you can see why Rosie has never acknowledged this interview publicly. Because she does come across looking so, just pretty bad. She always looks bad, but especially bad in this one. So let's let it go. We're going to get it started here. And hopefully I can provide you some insight. Provide you some laughs. That's what I'm here to do.
Like such a passion for me.
100%.
With the amount of things I've experienced in my life, I just genuinely believe some people on this earth are born and handed a stack of things.
Let me put it back to the beginning. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit at various points, but I guess let me let the intro play out. And it's a little bit quiet. The audio on this is not the best. Oh, and the video is all messed up too. Just to be fair, the video is all messed up, but the audio is good. So at least we can hear it clearly. Hopefully you can hear it clearly on my end. I can hear it clearly at least.
And how are you doing today, ma'am?
I am doing fantastic. I'm glad to be here. How you doing?
Okay. Thank you for the link, by the way, JB. Yeah, she's pretty terrible in this. I think it's more interesting to contrast with her We Are All Insane video. Because in this one here, she doesn't... In the other one, she talks about being groomed and all that kind of stuff. And in this one, she has a much more positive interpretation of it. She talks about the feederism stuff as if it was not a negative thing. Considering this guy is himself very likely a feeder, that you can see why he's so okay with it and doesn't give her any pushback. So let's let it run.
I can't complain. A little toasty, but we'll talk about
And
that
hopefully the volume balance is good for you folks. This is as loud as I can get it.
later.
Best way to be.
So I figured today we will just give the fans what they've been asking for. Just give a quick little rundown of who you are. Quick little rundown of who you are, what you've been into, and let everybody get to know you.
Absolutely. I'm
Little
excited
glitch.
to be here.
Sorry, guys, little glitch.
Maybe I should turn my own volume down a little bit. This is from 2022. This is actually from before her other interview. Let me turn myself down just a little bit, I think, because this video, the audio is just so bad on this. Okay, I've turned myself down a little bit, so that should make her a little bit louder in comparison. You can turn up your audio on your device if it's still a little bit quiet. Hopefully this will help the balance.
I'm gonna run that back for just a second. I lost audio for just a moment. Can you say something real quick for me?
1, 2, 3,
There we
4.
go. Gotcha. Okay. I'm gonna run it back to the top.
And you
So,
can
I
see
figured
Rosie's
today-
a lot smaller here. Look how she has a neck. She still has her neck here. So yeah, she's a lot
Hey,
smaller.
we're just gonna give our fans a little rundown on who you are, what you're into, and answer some Q&A questions since you got so very many of them. How's that sound?
I am so into it. Let's go.
All right, cool. So, I guess first things first. Since I'm clearly stalking your profile at this point, I noticed that it says a couple things in the header of your profile that I want to touch on. It says aspiring author. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, truth be told, I've been on a bit of a writing hiatus, but 2021, I dedicated a lot of my energy in the beginning of the year to kind of really digging deep into my trauma, my life, because my goal is to write a autobiographical.
Her goal is to write an autobiography. She's a real writer. You know, all that poetry she did about, what did she write? Pig feeling, she was like a caged pig. She called herself in her poems. Yeah, apparently, if you didn't know that, Rose's real passion is writing. It's not just sitting in the kitchen and feeding herself. Aspiring author on 34-year hiatus. She doesn't even use words correctly in this interview.
Poetic narrative about the experiences I've lived through.
Wow.
Because mental health is like such a passion for me.
Mental health is a passion for her. By mental health, she means trauma dumping and trying to guilt money out of her viewers.
100%.
With the amount of things I've experienced in my life, I just genuinely believe some people on this earth are born and handed a stack of things that just create a very unique, albeit painful experience that you have to kind of continually grow and learn from.
Absolutely.
And so I'm very
So she's one of those special people that's been handed a stack of painful experiences to grow and learn from. You know what? Out of everything she said, I mean, I guess that's not like the craziest thing, but for her to say that she's the only one is one of the only ones, or whatever. But you get my point. But at least that was
open about this. Like, I'm
prosaic.
diagnosed with CPTSD and ADHD and have been
Wow.
since I was diagnosed at 23, but I've had it since I was probably about 6. So for me, that experience in and of itself, and learning about neurodivergency and the psychology behind how all those things interlink with each other has been a really important process in self-discovery, but also in just understanding those topics as a whole.
It's amazing that she's always learning about herself. And this was 3 years ago, and she seems to know less about herself now than she did then.
And that's a theme that I want to carry very heavily in my book while I tell some of the stories that I've lived through. Because my life...
I think they handed her a stack of napkins, but she didn't take the hint.
I'm many things, but I'm not boring.
A stack of washcloths, Amber style.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
So,
So when you say write your book, is going to be an autobiography.
Oh, I missed a bunch of people coming in. Let me catch up on these comments just a little bit. She's a writer. She writes grocery lists and an inventory of all the foods in the house, etc., etc. She also makes trauma dump cringy posts on her social media. So she does do a fair amount of writing. QLR and ALR interchangeable. Just swap that one letter around, right? What's the difference between Amber and Rosie? Their first initial. Yeah, she's got the WebMD the WebMD on speed dial. That's an excellent point, Drella. As far as like people writing autobiographies, typically it's people like who lived really full lives, like athletes, um, successful politicians, um, the elite of the world, people who maybe had a very tough experience, policemen, mobsters, people who just have had a very full life. Rosie's had a full stomach, but her life has been rather empty. And welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Timo. Amazon wishlist vlogger. I love it. Yeah, welcome in, everybody. If I missed anybody coming in, welcome in, Timo and Joey. Pussy Go Lightly, JB, Jarella, and anybody lurking, anybody watching the replay, Hell's Ice Supply, in case I missed anybody coming in. Never. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, anytime if I see a washcloth with like a little bit of like a stain on it, I get like, oh, Amber. Oh, there you go, Timo. Exactly. People who've overcome like who had a very severe disability or a severe accident, a trauma. There's a lot of things. People who have a lot going on. Right? People who've done a lot or experienced a lot. They usually are the ones whose books we're interested in. Rosie's only got a book of her terrible recipes and a book of her awful posts on TikTok and her wish list.
Autobiographical, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So it's my goal is to create a narrative more so through poetry than just like short storytelling versions or like essay versions. My goal would be to maybe have a few of those to help interlink some of the poetry, but I really like poetry.
Right, of course.
So she's not just going to write an autobiography. It's going to be a book of poems about her own life because she is just so interesting and such a great poet. And just to go back to what Jarell said a moment ago about writing a book about herself, I kind of missed, I think I got your point now, Jarell. I think I kind of missed it at first. For somebody who wants to be a writer, there's so many things you could write about. You could write about fiction. You could write a story, a fantasy story. You could write a romance. You could write a book about science, about nature. You could write a book about philosophy. You could write a book about world issues, about history, a reexamination of an existing work. A critical literary review. There's so many different things that you can write in this world. You could write an Amazon wish list. You could write in one of Amber's journals. I mean, it spans the gamut. Not all writing is created equal. And Rosie's writing is more on the level of Amber filling a journal than a journalist filling a novel.
For me, that's my ultimate goal. And right now I'm more so in the beginning phases, but
I love
Last year I fractured my metatarsal and went through a really intense breakup with someone I had been with.
Oh, she fractured her metatarsal?
Right I'm more so in the beginning phases, but last year I fractured my metatarsal.
Metatarsal, that's a bone in your foot, right? Or your ankle. It's either your foot or your ankle, if I'm not mistaken. That could hurt, but at her body weight, like she probably broke it just standing. Like she probably didn't even do anything. She probably didn't even fall. She probably just was standing and it just gave out. Like the bones in the feet can only support so much body weight. That's probably why she has to use the chair all the time now.
And went through a really intense breakup with someone I had been with for like almost 8 years.
Oh my
God. An intense breakup with somebody she'd been with 8 years. Wasn't that like a horrible, traumatic relationship though? Didn't she say that he was like a feeder and he abused her and all this like horrible stuff? Or am I confusing him with the other guy who she was seeing? The one who she called her stalker, but who she was having sex with while her boyfriend was just an online relationship where they only talked, but her stalker was the guy she would visit and have sex with. Like her stories, like this look on her face here kind of matches her story. I like this still image here because I'm very skeptical. Oh, one thing I also want to point out, this this guy on the right here, he runs something called the Ohio BBW Network. He seems to basically just be a feeder simp. I'm not afraid to call it like it is because he's talking to Rosie in a way where he seems to he's trying to get on her good side. In my opinion, I think he sees her, or he sees if he's a feeder, he sees basically any woman of a certain size as just a sexual object. And he wants to put his sexual fantasies onto her, much like Stefan. Stefan had this absurd fantasy of having sexual relations with a 700-pound woman who was also able to be mobile and who could move and who could be sexy and all this stuff. He does not want to accept the reality that once you get to a certain weight, you can't function normally. You can't care for yourself. You can't really engage in intercourse like a normal person once you get beyond a certain weight. And these feeders live in the fantasy that they create where all of this is possible. The reality of it is very different and very shameful, and they don't want to accept the reality. So you're going to notice his attitude is going to deteriorate as the interview goes on. He starts off kind of like very into Rosie, like you could see he kind of is attracted to her, that he's into her, at least on a physical level. But as the show goes on, even he gets turned off, and even he begins to have enough, and even he's just kind of like, yeah, whatever. You could see his enthusiasm just exit his body as she kills his boner. Get what I'm saying?
Goodness. Yeah.
So I relocated and now I'm in Florida, and I've been, I think a lot of my friends and people that followed me for a long time have seen a major shift in me since I arrived here in October.
Major shift like how? How would you think they would characterize your shift?
Ooh, well, I want to figure out how I want to say this, but I don't necessarily want to disparage people too much, but basically I feel like there were multiple things holding me back in my life. A lot of it was self-induced, a lot of it was external.
External things holding her back. The only thing external holding her back is her extremely tight clothes that don't allow her to move. That's what's holding her body in back.
But in that front, being
the only thing holding her back is that kitchen chair. It's literally holding her back. It's stopping it from giving out.
Completely separate from a situation that wasn't good for anyone, made me start to really be able to fully heal. And I have to really say my parents have given me an opportunity that many people don't get to have, and I've had an opportunity to truly heal because from
so isn't it great to know that now she's finally healed up? Because this was 3 years ago. This was from 2022, 4 years ago, basically 3 to 4 years ago. She said 3 to 4 years to heal. And if you go to her YouTube page, hold on, let this play.
Until about October 2021, I experienced some of the biggest traumas that I've experienced in adulthood.
Oh, wow.
All right, let's check here.
So because of those experiences and those things that I do want to talk about and explore in my book.
She said she's been healing. She's been healing since 2022. Let's see what it says here on her YouTube channel. You are still healing. You are still healing. There you go. So apparently 4 years later, she's still healing. I don't know what she expects to heal at this point. Maybe the diabetes is stopping her from healing. Like, I know they have wound care. Like if you have issues with that, I think she needs emotional wound care. That's what she needs. She needs emotional wound care.
Which I guess I should probably say it now, especially depending on what questions we get asked or whatever. Some of the things I've been through probably deserve like a little trigger warning.
Well,
so
I gotcha.
I'm gonna just say that.
Right.
Because
Great point, Joey. She is her own biggest feeder. She's her own biggest troll, right? Like that's kind of like how Foodie is too. These guys, these so-called feeders. I mean, so-called feeders. They are feeders, but none of them come even close to doing what she's done to herself. Exactly. She was feeding herself. She did not eat. I'd love to see how much more she started eating once she became a feedee. She probably ate less because now she was letting other people pay for it. Thank you, Timo. She's given so many different versions over the years. Given so many different versions.
I believe, like I said, with mental health and all of that, I just think it's I post my titties out on the internet, I post those straps,
Right.
And back when this was made, this was around the time where she was still doing the sex videos. I believe, I could be wrong, but I know that she did porno videos for a period of time. And I think that this was not that far removed from that. Because this guy, the context of this show is in relation to porno. This guy runs a show called the Ohio BBW Network. So it's something relating to porn or sex work, something like that. So for her to appear on this show would indicate that she is involved in some way still. Although I don't know the exact timeline on that.
I do all that, and especially more lately, my Instagram vibe has been a lot more like carefree and lighthearted. But if you go back, actually, on my Instagram, there's this thing. I don't know if a lot of people are fully aware of it. I have tons of Instagram highlight reels, and they're labeled Nort, which is the short version of like my book workshop title. Like, it's not going to be my book title,
Right.
but it's my goal when I started my book was
yes, please, Jamie, absolutely, thank you.
Blog type style, but I did it through Instagram.
Hey, Wicked Weird Wednesday, good to see you, bud. Good to see you. If anybody wants to throw up a link for Wicked Weird Wednesday, that'd be very much appreciated. She's got a great channel. Definitely check her out. She's a real cool lady. She does marathon running, right? Am I right on that? I think she's like an athlete as well. So yeah, definitely go check her out. If one of my mods wants to throw up the link.
I started, I was having maybe like anywhere between 30 to 40 to max 100 viewers, and now it's like minimum like 200 upwards to, at my height, like, you know, over 1,000, which for me was like, oh my gosh, like that's crazy.
Right.
You know, like to me, I'm just this regular ass person. And all of a sudden, you know, since I moved to Florida and I started like working on myself, and I started really healing. And
she keeps talking about how she's been healing and working on herself, but if anything, she seems to be mentally healthier in this video than she does now. Like, I mean, that's not saying much, but she doesn't seem to be any better off now, despite having had 4 years of healing.
Not feeling as suppressed as I previously did.
And people picked up on
really
that energy.
Like you what?
I said people really pick up on that energy if you're feeling positive and more energetic.
Absolutely. That process like really I opened the floodgates for me in a way. Like, you know, when I gained like almost 10,000 followers, and like
I thought she was gonna say I gained almost 10,000 pounds, but then I realized even she hasn't gained that much.
4 months or something. Like, it was crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But how many of those followers are just feeders, right? Like, how many of those? She just posts, like she said it up front. She said, "Oh, I post pictures of my titties. I post thirst trap pics." That's not attracting like the average person. I mean, no. I mean, I'm not saying there's no guys that like bigger women, but the vast majority of the guys who like women this size are usually feeders. The vast majority. I'm not saying it's impossible, but this guy, he runs a show called the Ohio BBW Podcast. If he's not a feeder, then what the hell is?
That's awesome.
So it's just been such an exciting process. Like, where my friends and people who used to follow me back when I was like a pizza sister for life admin back in the body positive space from like 2013 till now, I've seen all this shit I've been through.
Wait. You were what? Break that down.
So, pizza.
She definitely looks much better in this than she does now. Like, she clearly put some effort into her appearance back then. Probably because she was posting pictures of herself online. Like, she was still like doing the OnlyFans. I don't know if she was doing OnlyFans, but she was doing something like similar to that around this time. So she put more effort into her appearance because she was making money from it.
Sisters for Life was a community on Instagram. I don't know if you're familiar with the hashtag at all.
No, not
it
at
was
all.
never as big as like F Your Beauty Standards, or like I think like Golden Confidence was another one. But it was like a subsector of body positivity.
Okay.
And I was one of the original admins.
Body positivity. I love the idea of body positivity, but the so-called, I like to say so-called, in quotes, body positive is body destruction. You're just a lot of these people, and it's mostly women, but there's men as well. But the body positivity groups are not healthy. These women, these men are self-destructing. What they call body positivity is really just giving up. It's giving up on ever being healthy and saying, well, I'm never going to be healthy, so I'm going to stop trying. And that is the most unhealthy thing you can do for yourself. So many people here have gotten healthy. I know that. So many people are in the process of getting healthy. I myself, much of my life, I've been heavy. I'm at a pretty good weight now, but even I have times where I struggle, right? Like I gained back a little bit of weight. I'm back dieting back down some of it now. But I know when to, I don't let it get to the point where it becomes debilitating. You know, I keep it under control because I care about my health. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because that to me is body positivity.
No longer active.
Okay.
But back in the day, the body positive space on Instagram was such a different place than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be honest, and maybe this might come off a little jaded because I'm like, I consider myself like an SSBBW, like a much bigger girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like,
so she refers to herself as a quote SSBBW. That's basically like a sex work type of term. That's not a term that you use to describe somebody unless you're referring to them in a sex. Usually, I'm not going to say there's no crossover, but if you type that, if you search for BBW, search for SSBBW, you're going to get links to dating websites. You're going to get links to porno websites. You're going to get links to that kind of stuff.
Some of them, like mid-sized, smaller fat people, have really co-opted what body positivity once was.
Right.
And so that's sad, and it's been sad for years. This has been happening for a long time, but like for me, I feel like the golden years, like the thing that made me fall in love with my body, the thing that really, really made me like learn about social issues and really form who I am today, was ironically making the decision to download Instagram.
No joke.
I knew what the term BBW.
If that's not proof that social media can be harmful, then what is? I mean, she's probably lying. She probably, you know, was always into something, but for her to say that she developed this philosophy that she uses now, this personality of hers, this dysfunctional thought processes, these dysfunctional thought processes, she's saying she learned a lot of them from Instagram. I don't know if I believe that entirely, but I'm sure they were at the very least reinforced. If they don't originate from social media, that's where the reinforcement can be found. We hear all the time about eating disorders, disordered eating. I got to be careful because these words will get me taken off YouTube. But the disordered eating, I'll say it like that. We know that can be, and trigger warnings if anybody does get triggered by this. I don't mean to be triggering anybody. I know this can be a very upsetting subject for some people. So my point is just that this is being picked. We always hear about how disordered eating is being spread around online through people sharing images, edited images, or images of extreme bodies. This is clearly affected Rosie. At least she says it does. If we take her at her word, it very negatively affected her.
So I went to that hashtag, and then that dumped me into this entire community I didn't know existed. And from there, I found friends that I am friends with to this day.
Awesome.
And this community that really, you know, I'm an ex-Mormon. And so I posted the first time I ever wore a tank top on my first ever Instagram. You know, and so there was like, that was, you know, recovering from religious trauma. That was recovering from all the.
Now, again, this is a little beyond the scope of this podcast, Nate, but Rosie always talks about ex-Mormon, religious trauma, and I don't deny that can happen. But a lot of what she describes, like her descriptions of her time in the Mormon church don't like sound like that bad, like from what she says. Like it mostly just sounds like she had to go to church every week and the people at the church were kind of conservative. She didn't really agree with them on a lot of stuff. But I mean, that's not like, as you know, the way she makes it sound like it was something out of a cult, you know, out of a movie where they had like midnight masses every week and they had to hold candles and they weren't allowed to, you know, they weren't allowed to read the newspaper, you know, like it wasn't like that. She tries to make it sound like it was this extreme cult, but sounds more just like a conservative church.
You know, body shaming and and just the general self-hatred that I had for myself. And I was able to watch myself go through all that and grow out of it. So, you know, that's what made me having to delete my Instagram in 2015. Like, that's what made that so heartbreaking, because this isn't my first account. I had to delete my Instagram right after I hit 10K in 2015.
Why was that?
So essentially, it wasn't because of r/fat people hate on Reddit. I don't know if you're familiar.
So she had to delete her Instagram. Notice how she phrased that. How she says it was so traumatic and so horrible when she lost her Instagram. And then she says, well, I had to delete it. So she says that she was traumatized by losing the Instagram, and then she admits that she's the one who deleted it. Everything about this girl is just contradictory, and it's absurd. And if she wasn't a real person, it would be a lot funnier. But it's just kind of sad to sometimes to think how messed up this girl is and how toxic she is.
Oh, not
At all. No, educate me.
That was kind of the catalyst. The short of it was my now ex was in a custody battle, and I was being targeted very heavily for about a year to 2 years on several different forums, websites, but it all started on the Reddit r/fat people hate. If you look up at it,
she acts like this was like a war crime. She acts like she went to war and she witnessed atrocities. The way she talks about this Reddit, like, oh, it was a bad time. You know, I saw some stuff. It was, I'm still recovering. I'm still healing from what I saw. I still have trauma. I need to go get therapy for the trauma of. You'd think that she was that she witnessed, a massacre or something. Oh my God, poor girl, what happened? Well, they made fun of me online.
Now, that subreddit was abolished in 2016 by the CEO of Reddit because it got so out of control.
Right. I mean, it's called /hate fat. I'm sure that it wasn't a positive group. So
no, it was actually hell on earth. I was almost doxxed.
It was hell on earth. I was almost doxxed. This is the girl who just her own agoraphobia. Yeah, right. Some current events on Roz. Her own agoraphobia just cleared up magically when somebody bought her a PO box. One of her simps, one of her subscribers, one of her viewers bought her a PO box so that she could get more gimmies, more free loot from her chatters. She got the PO box opened up, and she wants to talk about being doxxed. And she has a wish list on Amazon of things that she wants. She's exposing all of this personal information about herself, and then she complains that people are, quote, monetizing invasions of her privacy. You know who else is monetizing invasions of Rosie's privacy? Rosie is. She is the one monetizing her own invasion. She's letting people invade her privacy and getting paid to do it and then complaining.
At the time when I was making YouTube videos, they were bombarding my videos. I was told daily to go die, called a ham plant or whatever it was, whatever the hell they were throwing out that week, Michelin Man, whatever unoriginal,
right, whatever stupid thought they could come up with, right?
Dumb thought, that they can think of.
So exactly. Thank goodness that there's that her situation was looked at by somebody so important, because anything less would not have been enough to help fix her problem. And yes, Wicked Weird Wednesday, I did say agoraphobia. That's I did not invent it though. I don't know who came up with it first, but I know I heard it from Alizu. I know I heard it from a few people in my chat. Welcome in, Sunset Lovey. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. Glad you can catch the weekend stream, the bonus stream. Oh, I heard something about that, Timo, where a young person was questioning their sexuality, and she was pressuring them and telling them that she was going to talk to their parents and share them, some personal information, and they were a minor at the time, and I don't know the full details, but from what I've heard, it sounds pretty darn bad. Like she was pressuring this young person.
Right. So it was a lot of that, but the issue was, at the time I had a stalker the
stalker I love how she defines it. The stalker is the guy who she would visit to have sex with. Her boyfriend is the guy who talked to her online. What a way to split that up mentally. What a compartmentalization.
Up until
oh my goodness,
last year was a problem, and I got rid of him. But what I figured out was he was kind of the head of all of it, because there was a period of time where he was intimately involved in my life and knew a lot of details, and had at one point met me in person. And
one point it met me in person. I love how she phrases it here. Well, he was involved in a lot of details of my life, and at one point he met me in person. You went to visit him. He did not at one point meet you in person. You make it sound like it was this like he stalked you and he found you and he encountered you and he ambushed you. You chose to visit him at a hotel for sex that you weren't having with your boyfriend. Come on, Rosie. And I'm not defending this guy at all. I don't want anybody to think I'm defending. This guy sounds like a scum. The guy she's talking about, the quote stalker boyfriend. But these guys don't. But to be fair, I've only heard Rosie's version of it, so who knows? But maybe their version is very different. But from her version, these guys sound pretty bad. So I'm not defending them either. But I think it is worth mentioning that we are only hearing her version.
A while to figure out that this person was in these hate forums, like feeding information, and he had like saved like nudes of me and like other things of me, and had like exploited those and put that all on the out on those forums. He listed my family. It was truly one of a really traumatic experience.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
dark.
Yeah, it is, right?
It was so traumatic, especially when she flew out to have sex with him. But you know, and especially as a stalker, anybody not aware of how she finally got rid of the stalker, because we all know like stalkers can be really tough to get rid of, right? I mean, that's the whole definition of what makes somebody a stalker, is that they won't leave you alone. Well, she figured out a way to stop stalkers, and if only other people could think of this, right? How many people have dealt with stalkers and just they can't get rid of them? Rosie figured it out. You just say, "Hey, leave me alone." And send him an email saying, "Hey, leave me alone, or I'm gonna tell somebody," and that was it. And then he left her alone. So good thing, she's figured out the secret weapon to stop stalkers.
So
ask them to leave you alone, and then they do it.
When all that happened, basically one of my ex's exes found it because they had tried to dox my ex, and not my ex at the time. Because the fun little thing is we were long distance, so they assumed he wasn't real when he in fact very much was. And so they like put.
Hold on. So she's saying she revealed information about her boyfriend just to prove he was real? Did I hear that right?
And not my ex's exes found it because they had tried to dox my ex, and not my ex at the time. Because the fun little thing is we were long distance, so they assumed he wasn't real when he in fact very much was.
So because we were long distance, they assumed he wasn't real when he was. Long distance. If you've been long distance for 8 years and never met, he's not real. I'm sorry. No disrespect to anybody in the chat. If you have a long distance relationship that's gone on for over 8 years, if you had an 8-year long distance relationship, I don't want to disrespect you. But it's long distance relationship in the age of the internet. I understand it. I do. Talking to people, I've had like, I don't like to call it long distance relationship, but I've certainly talked to people who lived at a distance, tried to get to know them, women, talk to these women, get to know them a little bit, works out, doesn't work out, whatever. But I wouldn't call that long distance dating though. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like dating, but it's not, because you're just talking. Like, I'm not sure what word I would use to describe it, but I would not call it a relationship. But, not to say it's not possible to have a long distance relationship, but after a while, you eventually have to meet up. If you don't meet up after I don't know how long it is, but if you don't eventually meet up, then there's something very wrong there.
And so they like put his email and all this stuff. And so when she Googled his email, all these things about me, she forwarded it all to his family. And it was either delete your Instagram and get off the internet.
Welcome in, SOMD, THC. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. And if you're a new chatter here, glad to have you. We always love all the new chatters. And welcome into any new chatters, new viewers. But yeah, she should have put security cameras on her Amazon wish list. All the stalkers she's got, right? She should get some pepper spray, and you know what she needs? One of those recordings of the barking dogs. Oh, good point. That would stop her from healing. I love it.
Or we have to break up because this could be brought up in court as like a safety issue.
Dang.
So I chose my boyfriend at the time.
Right.
So,
she chose her boyfriend. I'm sorry, I keep rewinding it, but this is a little hard to follow.
His email and all this stuff. And so when she Googled his email, all these things about me, she forwarded it all to his family. And it was either delete your Instagram and get off the internet, or we have to break up because this could be brought up in court. Okay,
so now this is why she deleted her Instagram. This is actually, I'm glad I rewound that. So apparently, it wasn't the Redditors who made her delete the Instagram. Of course, she deleted it. I want to make that clear. Made her delete it, right? She chose to delete it. Apparently, it's because some woman doxed her boyfriend and sent the information and sent information to his family about the kind of person she really was. And the compromise she made with him and the family was if she would delete her social media, she would be allowed to continue talking to him. This is so dysfunctional in every way.
As like a safety issue.
Safety,
Hey.
of course. Safety is the number one issue with Rosie. She's more concerned with safety than an OSHA inspector.
All to his family. And it was
Hey.
either delete your Instagram and get off the internet, or we have to break up because this could be brought up in court as like a safety issue.
Dang.
So I chose my boyfriend at the time.
Right.
What a good
So
girlfriend.
eventually, obviously, I came back, and it took me about 5-6 years to like.
Sorry to keep pausing it, but we have so many great comments. Joey, he is bored. You know why? In my opinion, why? Let me say that. My opinion, why? This is the Ohio BBW network. He wants to talk about sex. He wants to talk about the porno she did. He wants to talk about her posting pictures on Instagram. He wants to talk about, her meeting up men. He wants to talk about that. He doesn't want to talk about her getting attacked online. This is not what he signed up for. He thought he was going to get some stereotypical porno actress who was willing to do an interview in character. That's what he wanted. He wanted somebody willing to do an interview in character as like a porno actress. And I could be wrong, but that's my gut feeling that that's what he wanted. Look at this guy. He looks like a coomer. He's a total coomer. Everything about him just says that he runs a show called the Ohio BBW Network. And he doesn't obscure his face. He has no problem being known as the face of the Ohio BBW Network. He's a coomer. He doesn't want to talk about trauma. He wants to talk about, feeder and sex and stuff like that. So yeah, he's really bored. He's really disappointed.
Be able to get back on the internet in a public way and not be a trigger for my
Right.
PTSD.
Right.
Yep.
And I've finally gotten back to a space where like after that experience plus all the childhood bullying, at this point, like anyone can say literally anything to me and I'm just like, okay, Ann.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Unless you're trying to like literally come kill me with a knife, I'm fine.
Right.
You know?
I feel you. Bounces off it.
Well, isn't that great? She's finally, this is what, 3 years ago? And she said that she's finally reached a point where she's okay with the online critique. The trolls don't bother her anymore. She's learned how to handle it. And I bet he's thinking, all right, great. Now we can finally move on to the sexy talk. Now I can finally talk about my feeder fantasies, my BBW, SSBBW fantasies. Rosie, what's your favorite? Let me tell you about my trauma some more. This guy is so like, she's killing his boner.
At this point, yeah, you were invulnerable. Jeez, after everything you've been through, my
like,
goodness.
yeah.
So I have a question for you. So it sounds like social media has played both a positive and huge, massively negative in your life. Between the two, which one would you say you are pro social media or you're pro social media?
Yeah. I think overall the positive
He wants to hear about why she likes posting pictures of herself, but instead she's just going to talk more about online bullying.
experiences have laid a foundation for me
Mhm.
in a way that I just don't know would have been possible. I would not have had the sense of community that I've been able to cultivate through
Exactly.
the body positive feminist spaces online. I believe that, I wouldn't have such an open understanding of very nuanced topics like gender and racial issues that are so prevalent and important. And
She's so wise. She's so wise. She's so enlightened. Not like us simple, bigots.
because I was raised in a rural Georgia suburb, and it wasn't until I was like in my early 20s and I got exposed to these intersectional spaces.
I would love to see like where she actually was raised. She talks so much crap about where she was raised. She acts like she grew up in Deliverance. She acts like she grew up in a shack in the woods, with a bunch of moonshiners. I don't believe that. She probably grew up in like some nice suburb, racially diverse. I mean, I'd be surprised if it wasn't, because the way she acts like she grew up in the backwoods somewhere. Her parents seem like very like modern people. They don't seem like old-fashioned conservative types. I mean, maybe a little bit, but they don't seem like, but not for their age group. For their age group, I would not describe them as conservative. Maybe compared to a young person, but compared to the average like 60-year-old, they're not like strict religious people, not in the slightest. So unless they've changed tremendously, this doesn't add up.
Online that I really, I mean, I thankfully I was never racist or closed-minded in that way, but I was not educated because I didn't have access to information, and I didn't know to think outside of my own lived experience, and the internet taught me that.
Dope. That's really cool. So when you said, I mean, now I'm backtracking through things that you've said. So to go back, you said originally back in the day when you closed down the account, what year did you have to shut down the account?
I believe that was in January, like 2015.
2015.
I think it was like super early in 2015.
When did you reopen? When did you start the new account?
So I forgot
James.
the reason. I think it was
James Brightman. We got a special guest right here. James Brightman has a fantastic channel as well. I know we've had a couple creators in here today, but yeah, James definitely. I've really been impressed with his coverage of what he calls Boy World. If any of my mods can put up a link to his channel, definitely go check it out. I would like to start covering some of those guys a bit more. Maybe one of these days, James, you could, if you wanted to maybe call in and share a few words on it, I'd be happy to have you, because he knows what's up. He knows what's up. But yeah, James, glad to have you, man. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. And James knows a lot about health as well. He knows a lot about like nutrition and exercise. He's been killing it in the gym.
just like I was in a really dark, deep depression after I deleted my Instagram for 6 months because it felt like they had won.
Right.
Like I knew the real reason why. I knew I was doing it for a little child that I still love, that even though we're not together, still my stepchild.
Hold on. So she deleted her Instagram for a stepchild that she loves? This is like a new bit of Rosie lore. She had a stepchild?
It felt like they had won.
Right.
Like I knew the real reason why. I knew I was doing it for a little child that I still love, that even though we're not together, still my stepchild. A child that is one of the best people I've ever met, and even though they live 1,000 miles away now, I still do my best to try to maintain a relationship with them. It's not.
Oh, is that the child? That okay? So now I know. Okay, this makes more sense now, because I had heard that story about how she had interfering with a minor and pressuring them about their sexuality or about their identity, I guess, and was being very inappropriate. And now I understand how she knew this person. So this is an interesting bit of lore here. Interesting bit of lore.
It's awkward. I'm thankful that because my ex could very easily just say fuck.
Oh, welcome in, Miss Connie, 319.
Talk to them anymore.
Hopefully you're having a wonderful weekend. Glad to have you. And thank you to anybody who's come in, any of the lurkers, any of the chatters. If anybody watching the replay, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Oh, we got Kitty J in here today. We got the All-Stars. What's up, Kitty J? Hopefully you're having a great day. Kitty J is another amazing creator in this community. She has so much good content. Most of you probably know her, but if you don't, you should definitely go follow her. Kitty J, you're always welcome to post your link. And if you could do me a favor, Kitty J, I don't know if you're near your PC or whatever, but if you could post a link to James Brightman's channel, that would be fantastic.
You're not involved in this. You're not a parent, but they know that's not what's in the best interest of their child. And to his credit, he's always tried really hard to keep his life like that in terms of his child. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
So and so for that reason, that's something that when I was living with them, me and Rye, you would be like this little side voice. Because of what happened on Fat Heat, because of what I went through, I've never shown their face on my social media.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
To protect them. Yeah. So and also,
never shown their face to protect them. From what I'm hearing, it sounds more like she hasn't shown them because they would probably demand she take it down. Maybe they would threaten, legal action. It sounds like she is not welcome to be involved in this child's life by their parents. And if she won't leave them alone, then, what was that, legal order of protection? Did somebody say that they got against her? That sounds like the reason why she's not posting pictures because she's legally forbidden.
So my space isn't exactly for kids.
Right. I got you.
So,
Okay,
you know,
TPO.
in that regard,
Protection order.
that's something that I take very seriously with that. But oh shoot, what was your question? I talked myself into a circle.
The overall question was the social media, and then you started going into the family and everything. And I mean, we were talking about when you reopened your account in 6 months after it closed.
When I reopened it, basically I broke up with him, or I was going to break up with him, and instead of actually, so in my realization that breaking up with him meant I could make an Instagram, I made an Instagram, and my dumb ass accidentally followed his account when I was going through my burner account. Like I hit follow, I didn't mean to, because I was like, boy, he was like,
This is confusing. So she followed whose account? I'm sorry to keep rewinding this. We're gonna have to break this up into at least one more part, because this is hard to follow.
I broke up with him, or I was going to break up with him, and instead of actually, so in my realization that breaking up with him meant I could make an Instagram, I made an Instagram, and my dumb ass.
So my realization that breaking up with him allowed me to make an Instagram. That's right, because she said earlier his family said she had to get rid of Instagram if she wanted to stay with her boyfriend. And I guess breaking up with him allowed her to make an Instagram. This is so absurd on every level. I think I'm getting repetitive saying that, but I do feel that way.
Followed his account when I was going through my burner account. Like I hit follow, I didn't mean to, because I was like, boy, he was like working, I think, and I was going to talk to him in like literally a couple hours.
Right.
But I wasn't doing anything at the time. So in my trying to like not be sad about breaking up with him, because I didn't necessarily want to. I genuinely don't even remember the catalyst of that breakup. We obviously were broken up for only a couple days and got back together.
Right.
But and we figured it out basically. And made it to where it wasn't an issue. But I was like, I can't keep hiding. I can't do this anymore.
Right.
So that's when I made this current account. It was a different name at the time. I think it was like Phoenix Rose with 2 E's. So it wasn't that different. But I made this account because so whatever that first post is, it's down at the way bottom.
Right, it's at the original.
But
let me look while you're talking.
Like, the first like 6 posts or so was like, you know, my baby had my baby, his name's Rocky, like my cat that I had since I was like 6. He had like passed away during that.
She is just she on Adderall? Like she is talking a mile a minute. It is hard to keep up with it. I agree, Timo. It is hard to understand it. Hell's Ice Supply. Exactly. You gotta like piece her together.
A period of time where I wasn't really on the internet and all that stuff. So I was like posting updates like that and all that. So, you know, for me, it was just a moment of like trying to reclaim it. And then that's when I realized that I wasn't emotionally ready. And I would catch like for years, I'm like, I'm going to be more active. I'm going to come back. I'm going to keep posting. And then I would do 1 or 2 and then I would hide again. And I kept fighting that cycle until ironically, until I finally fully got cut off from my ex and moved away and spent some time here. Like I started to say earlier.
Finally got cut off from her ex and moved away. And something she's leaving out here, and some of you folks in the chat probably know the details better than I do. But there was a time when she was doing the feeder porn. She was doing the porno videos, and she was starring in the videos, I guess you could say. She was like the main character in the videos. You know, she really wanted to keep doing this. She was really enjoying it. But then she had a falling out with the producer because she kind of mocked the producer's disability by kind of pretending to need a cane that she didn't really need. It's a bit of a complex story. I don't want to get into all of it, but the long story short, she disrespected the producer. And it really got, and then accused the producer of, I'm trying to think of the right word for it here, accused the producer of exposing their child to pornographic material, their minor child, tried to accuse the producer of letting the minor child witness the pornographic material. So Rosie really threw around some allegations there. That is why she stopped doing the feederism. She stopped doing the porno. She stopped doing a lot of the sexual type of work, because she was alienated from that community, not just because she chose to.
My parents really gave me an opportunity to come here, and like the first 3 months I lived here, I honestly probably didn't get out of bed much. I literally
welcome
rested.
Big Turks.
Because I
quick twerks. Hopefully you're having a great weekend. Welcome in. And welcome to anybody who's coming in, all the lurkers and all the chatters and everything. And yeah, he's so disinterested at this point. He wants to talk about like BBWs and about like sexy time and stuff.
I don't want to spend this whole time talking about the trauma and what I've been through and all of that. A lot of
you
that
don't?
is available on my
You don't?
Instagram highlights. A lot of that is going to be touched on in my book. A lot of that is very dark and very heavy. But I mean, you know, surviving sexual assault as an adult for the second time, when the first time was when I was so young,
Right.
you know, going through and experiencing being put in a place where you realize just how horrific the mental health care is for the disenfranchised of our country.
She's talking about when she signed herself into a mental health facility where she said she wanted to end her life. She wanted to take herself out. And they told her that that she couldn't stay unless she, oh, excuse me, or phrase that. She was there, and she was there like a day or two, and they said she couldn't stay if she was getting better. And that's when she said she wanted to do herself. And they were like, well, then you got to stay here another 72 hours. Are you sure about that? And she signed herself into the facility for 72 hours. And then she tried to leave and claimed they wouldn't let her leave. And she called that medical kidnapping. And she claimed that she witnessed multiple doctors and medical professionals abusing the patients in that time. She claimed she witnessed multiple instances of abuse, neglect. Basically, just it sounded like she saw One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and she adapted that story to her own life. She does a lot of that. Whenever she reads stories on the internet, watches a movie, she kind of like inserts herself into the events, or she takes the events and puts them into her own life.
Country is just fucking disgusting.
100%.
Heartbreaking and witnessing it with your own eyes, because I was put in a situation where I arrived at the hospital and they gave me medication, some kind of like, I don't even know what they gave me, to be honest with you, but something that put me basically to sleep, and they had me sign paperwork that I didn't understand.
Oh my God. They gave her something that put her to sleep and got her to sign, because of course she wouldn't sign it awake, right? She would absolutely not sign. This is the most absurd bull crap. I don't like to curse on this channel, but I feel like I'm cutting close to that point. I feel like I'm gonna let one loose just out of frustration.
Right.
Yeah. Telling me it was for insurance when it wasn't. And so this whole situation occurred where I was basically held effectively against my will, and I had to figure out how to get out of it.
Held against my will and had to figure out how to get out of it. She's so brave. You know, it's like she's being, I'm trying to think of a movie. What movie did she get this from? One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was like that. What other movie did they hold somebody against their will in a hospital? Because maybe it was a television show. She probably saw a TV show where this happened.
And it was more traumatic than.
Oh, that one with Halle Berry, that horror movie. I forgot, the one where she was in the crazy house. And that one where she played the doctor and she went to that movie. She probably saw that one.
Oh, to be honest with you, so
it's the American healthcare system. That's the American healthcare system for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and just in the fact, like, and I was sent to a city an hour away. That was a very, a very poor part of town, and the demographic there was just like it was a lot. I shouldn't have been sent.
What was she trying to say there? It was a very poor part of town. The demographic was it was a lot. What were you going to say about the demographic, Rosie? What was that? And I love she loves to talk about how she accuses everybody else of being so damn racist all the time. I don't like to say what somebody else is thinking. I don't like to insinuate what somebody else's beliefs are. But it just seems awfully funny how Rosie is always accusing everybody else of all the stuff that she does.
A very poor part of town, and
so she went to the hospital. She was the reason, that's what it was. She was happy to stay at the hospital until they made her go to the hospital that wasn't as nice. She wanted to stay in the hospital that was basically like a hotel. But then when she signed herself in, they like, all right, well, you actually have to go to the real hospital where they actually, don't have all these luxuries. And this is the hospital for people who are really mentally ill. And she didn't like that because it wasn't like being in a hotel anymore. and it had too many. And also, like she put it, the demographic was it was too much. The demographic was too much. What did you mean by that, Rosie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and just in the fact, like, and I was sent to a city an hour away. That was a very, a very poor part of town, and
Yes,
the
good one, good catch.
demographic there was just like there was like, it was a lot. I shouldn't have been sent there for what happened to me. I needed therapy, and they ended up sending me to a glorified prison.
A glorified prison?
A
glorified Rosie. This is a girl who's never been to a real prison. I don't think she's ever been to a jail. She wants to talk about classism. She wants to talk about being oblivious to the struggles of other people. She wants to talk about prejudice and privilege and all of that. That is one of the most privileged things I've ever heard in my life. That is that's like Marie Antoinette level of privilege. You signed yourself into a mental hospital and you said it was a glorified prison or glorified jail. It doesn't really matter. This girl is the worst. She's just the worst. Oh, she's the worst.
And I quote, "We don't do that here."
No
so
joke.
There was like, it was.
Yes, Joey, great point.
There for what happened.
I love my state of Florida, but we're far from perfect. And if you just sign, you never know what you're going to get if you just sign yourself into a mental health facility. I don't like that. I've had good experiences here for the most part. People I know have had good experiences for the most part, but I've also heard some horror stories. So it can be a matter of luck of the draw sometimes, and that's not good. I will say though, it depends a lot on where you are, because some areas the quality of care is just better in some areas than others. Some of it has to do with property values. Some of it has to do with education level, but it's a variety of factors. But it depends where you live. But a lot of places have good quality care, and it's not always the factors. Like, it's not always obvious. Like, sometimes you're in areas that are kind of rural, and they're maybe not as well to do, and sometimes they have really amazing healthcare just because the nurses and the doctors and everybody really take it seriously. So it's not so simple as just that. But there are also a lot of places that really suck, especially like in the cities. That's actually maybe that's something worth mentioning. I feel like the income level of the area matters more in the city than out in the country, in my experience at least. Because I've also gone to places like when I lived in South Florida, and it's very urban there, very city, and it's very it's grim. Some of those places there, people are just left to die sometimes, and that's awful. I remember a story about a woman an elderly woman who was eaten to death by fire ants, and that was just like the most horrific thing to me.
I needed therapy, and they ended up sending me to a glorified prison.
Glorified prison.
When I asked for therapy, I was told, and I quote, "We don't do that here."
No joke.
We don't do therapy here because you were there for 3 days. You were there for 3 days. They were keeping you there to get you stable and send you to a real therapist. You don't get a therapist. They don't send you to a therapist when you were in crisis. They get you out of crisis and then you get your therapy, Rosie. You're so full of crap. You don't want to admit it, or you don't understand it. But if you don't understand it, it's because you're intentionally ignorant.
Yeah, it was truly a horrific experience. But the thing
about welcome in, Nutty. I missed you coming in there.
I've gotten to a place in my life.
Hopefully you're having a great weekend, Nutty. Thank you so much for coming by. She's absolutely a spoiled brat. Then this story does stink. Yeah, it's so much great chat today, but I'm keeping up with a lot of it.
Like, where that's my past, and that's stuff I'm still processing. In fact, I'm about to get back into EMDR with all that, and so I'm really excited.
What is that?
It's like, I think it's like eye desensitization.
Mm-hmm.
What'd she say?
Something.
Identitization?
I'm about to get back in life where that's my past, and that's stuff I'm still processing. In fact, I'm about to get back into EMDR with all that.
EMDR.
And so I'm really excited.
What is that?
It's like, I think it's like eye desensitization.
Mm-hmm.
Eye desensitization?
Something. I don't remember. If you Google it, it'll tell you the exact acronym. But basically, it's one of the most revered therapies for traumatized individuals.
One of the most revered therapies for trauma. She's always using these big words incorrectly. One of the most revered therapies for traumatized individuals. It's not revered, Rosie. I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but I can guarantee you it's not revered.
It kind of helps break down the memory links and helps get to the source and root of the trauma and emotions within you. Because I truly believe if I hadn't gone through EMDR in 2017 and 2018, I wouldn't have survived 2020.
You said AMDR?
Hold on. So she said this literally saved her life. It's so many. She has so many things that literally saved her life. This literally saved my life. This literally saved my life. Your life has been nothing but pain, Rosie, according to you. So, I mean, surprised you're so happy about it.
EMDR.
EMDR?
Yeah.
EMDR therapy?
Yes. Thank you. I can never remember the acronym, but
eye movement desensitization and reprocessing is a.
That's a good point, Joey. That is very true. I remember when I was younger, I remember there was like some of my friends, they went to like a drug rehab and they said it was really nice. And then some of my other friends went to a drug rehab and they went to like the one that the city or the county provided. It was called Broward Area Recovery Center, something like that. Broward County, something recovery center. And they said that was like a prison. But to be fair, the people there were basically prisoners. They were people who were going to be sent to prison, but instead they were sent to a rehab. And that's what the facility was. So it was like a lockdown facility. Maybe it's changed since then. But yeah, that was where they sent you. They sent you to Bark. It was like a lockdown facility. So when she wants to talk about like a glorified prison, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist, but that's not where she went.
Form of psychotherapy in which the person being treated recalls distressing experiences whilst doing bilateral stimulation, such as side-to-side eye movement or tapping either side of the body.
So I don't know if this is good stuff or not. I don't know how legitimate it is. I know sometimes just because I don't know about it doesn't mean it's not good. But I also know that Rosie believes in all kinds of like magic crystal BS. Like she believes in all kinds of mumbo jumbo and stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense. So if she swears that something literally saved her life, there's a good chance it's total bullcrap. Of course, it's possible it's real, and she just never actually did it. That's the other possibility. It could be something real that she just never really did. So I don't want to denigrate the EMDR, but I will say I don't believe that Rosie got any benefit from it, if she even did it.
Yep. Lateral therapy in which the person being treated.
So what's the definition?
I can never remember the acronym, but
eye movement.
Oh, no problem, Pussy Go Lightly. Thank you for coming by.
Reprocessing is a form of psychotherapy in which the person being treated recalls distressing experiences whilst doing bilateral stimulation, such as side-to-side eye movement or tapping either side of the body.
So recalling stressful experiences while doing bilateral eye movement or tapping the sides of the body. I've never heard of that. I don't want to speak on something I don't know anything about, so I'm just going to leave that alone. But on the surface, it doesn't sound to be especially not like I'm not really sure how that's going to be more effective than regular therapy. But if it helps people, then I'm all for it.
Dang.
Yep. If you get a trauma specialist therapist, that therapy saved my life.
No joke.
Saved your life, literally.
How was it helpful?
Well, so basically with the eye movements in conjunction with recalling therapy and having someone to keep you grounded, they also set up like a safe space for you,
Like, a safe space? You mean like your channel? Like the chat in your channel where nobody's allowed to have a thought that disagrees with you? And I don't think that's what a safe space means. A safe space, from my understanding, is a place where you're safe, not a place where everybody just agrees with you and kisses your ass.
So basically with the eye movements in conjunction with recalling therapy and having someone to keep you grounded, they also set up like a safe space for you, like for me, essentially, I like created this vision of a field. I'm not going to go into specifics because it's a personal thing.
Right. I understand.
Like this sunny field with these certain smells and certain visuals that
her safe space was a buffet. I don't believe that she was in a field. She was in a buffet and she could smell fried chicken, egg rolls, and pizza all at the same time, and it made her feel really good.
Or basically designed to like help make you feel safe and grounded and come down from delving into the depths and darkness and despair of the worst moments and trauma for people who have experienced some of the most horrific things, like childhood essay is probably one of the worst things a human can experience. And that's the foundation of my life. So because of that,
I think so too, Nutty. I do believe I mean, I do accept that she's probably had some traumatic events over the course of her life, but at least in the more recent years, they seem to all be self-inflicted. Maybe when she was very young, she had some difficulties that were not her own choosing. Like I do accept that her parents basically abused her by overfeeding her to the point where she was, 400 pounds when she was going into high school? That's abusive. So her parents absolutely traumatized her. Who knows what other traumas she's been through, but I do accept that she's had trauma. But the majority of what she's complaining about is self-inflicted. So that's why I have so much criticism for her.
And because of that therapy, I was able to unpack that along with many of the other things that.
But yeah, I agree, Nutty.
I had to experience. Yeah.
Wow, that's deep, dude. Are you currently still going through are you currently only doing EMDR therapy, or are you doing like a host of other?
I actually haven't started it yet. I'm in
okay.
There's a build up process.
Okay.
She's setting up the building blocks. I'm speaking with. She's a new person because, like I said, I just.
Well, she said she hasn't even done it yet. Is that what she said?
Going through are you currently only doing EMDR therapy, or are you doing like a host of other?
I actually haven't started it yet.
She hasn't even started it yet. She hasn't even started it yet. It literally saved her life, and she hasn't even started it yet. I must be mishearing something. Okay.
There's a build up process.
Okay.
She's setting up the building blocks. I'm speaking with. She's a new person because, like I said, I just relocated here.
Right.
It took me a minute to get in with her.
So you just how long have you been in Florida?
Since October, but it took me a while to get in the door with her, and also I wasn't emotionally ready when I moved here.
Right.
I am now.
Right.
I'm in a much better place. You need to be at a certain level of stable.
I remember that too, Timo. She tried to do the tarot card reading, and she got spooked because somebody said in Florida you need a license to do tarot. I don't know if you need a license to do tarot, but I think you need a license to be like a psychic. Like if you claim that you could see the future and stuff, I don't know exactly how the law works, but just using cards does not require a license. But if you're selling your services, I could see where that would require a license. And she didn't even know how to do it. She was using the beginner deck. She was using a deck that had like the answers written on the cards.
Before you can ever explore EMDR.
Right.
The EMDR is not something you do when you're like in distress and need like talk therapy or some other type of deconstruction, because that's digging in your past. If you have current urgent problems, there are different therapies for that, like DBT, for example.
What's that? Break it down for us.
I agree 100%.
Behavioral therapy. Asking me questions I didn't do my homework on.
I'm about to say,
she said something in a stream, one of her newer streams. She said something about how her goal is to make once she starts having more money. Once she's making more money, she's not going to need the wish list or something like that. I don't remember exactly what she said. Or she said like, oh, I need these things on the wish list. I would buy it for myself once I have more money. Well, Rosie, you said that you're not going to ever work a job. You can't work from home. You can't work outside of home. And your channel is not growing. Like your channel, if anything, it's not, I mean, if it's not making enough now, it never will. Not unless you could bilk your existing viewers out of even more money.
That's why I feel keep talking. I'm Googling right now.
No, you're good. So yeah, that's basically
did you say DMT therapy?
D as in David, B.
DBT. Okay, because DMT therapy, they're talking about drugs and Joe Rogan. I was like,
that is disgusting. That is absolutely disgusting. I did not hear about that. I'm going to look into that because that is despicable. That's despicable. I've mentioned before, growing up, my parents overfed me, not to that extent, thank God, but it certainly had a harmful impact on me. It was bad for my health, bad for my psychology, just bad in every way. And that level, that's horrible. That's horrible. Always wants some handouts. Always wants some gimmies.
Joe Rogan.
Dialectical behavioral therapy is an evidence-based psychotherapy that began with efforts to treat personality disorders and interpersonal conflicts.
Well, if it's evidence-based, that's not what she's doing. That's not what she's not doing anything evidence-based. So I think she's pulling that out of her prodigious booty.
Cool.
I don't believe I have a personality disorder. However, it's a really great trauma-based therapy as well.
Right. I believe that. I believe that. Dude, this is deep, dude. So I'm like, yeah, I'm
I don't
sorry.
know how to not be deep. I've tried.
He's so like frustrated, you know, and he's really doing a good job like not acting frustrated, but you can tell he's not happy. He wanted to talk about sexy stuff. He didn't want to hear about trauma. He's trying to like move her like kind of away from it a little bit, but she just doesn't want to do it.
Trying to wrap the thing didn't work for me.
I got you. Ditzy isn't in your vocabulary, huh?
Boring.
So yeah, sorry, dude. I've been talking your head off. Let's get to
Oh no. Oh yeah, we've got questions.
Yeah, we got
that. But yeah, that's just like because I think in my bio like I talk about mental health and stuff like that. So
Absolutely.
that touches those topics for sure. But that's the stuff that I think makes the meat of my book.
Yeah, that's dude. That's definitely. Do you have any kind of like, hey, I'm going to be releasing chapters or previews anytime in the near future?
No.
Okay.
I am completely doing this like uneducated, but if any of you guys are authors, no publishers, editors, anybody, hit me up. I need help. I need resources, videos to watch.
Okay.
She basically wants somebody to write her book for her.
Ways to learn how to do that.
Right.
Throwing that out into the universe.
Oh, sure thing.
This is my life's dream. My dream is to publish a book. Even
This
if
is her
I
dream.
just self-publish on Amazon, I don't.
Her dream is to publish a book. Rosie, if that's your dream, do it. But I mean, if that's your dream, then work toward it. Don't just like half-ass it and then use it as a chance to grift. It feels like her dream is to quote be an author, not to actually write. You know what I mean? Like she wants the credit of being an author. She wants to be seen as an author. But she doesn't want to actually write.
My goal, the thing that I want the most from this lifetime for me is to complete this book. Whether it's in 10 years, 5 years, next year, I don't really care.
That's all she cares about in this life. Then why haven't you put any effort into it?
Definitely. I got some resources for you, so I'll definitely share some stuff with you. Yeah, I mean it's not huge, but yeah, we'll talk about it after the interview.
Of course,
and I'll take care of you.
Okay.
So let us get to the questions. And before we get to the questions, I just want to say thank you for coming on and
agree.
sharing some of what you've gone through and some of what you're getting into and the process of growth, man. I mean, that's definitely dope. I didn't realize you were saying
he's all about growth. As a feeder, he's all about growth.
Only since October. We were talking about 2015 and 2016. I was thinking you've been there for years. I didn't know that you had just moved.
My breakup was in June of last year, like when we finally cut ties.
No
joke.
Look at how much smaller her chest was back then. When she leans back, you could see like it's just really all just fat that's grown since then. Like it's not like the same as it is now.
That you had just
moved. Was in June of last year, like when we finally cut ties. We broke up for like 9 months in 2019. That was we got time to get into my breakup story. But basically, you know, it was just it's been a lot. It's been a lot of craziness. Timelines are wild. That's why I want to write a book about
it. Definitely. I'm saying from all the followers you get, they're gonna love that story, dude. So yeah, we definitely want to hear it.
I hope so.
All right, so now getting into some of the questions that were.
She's too busy writing her grocery lists and writing her wish lists and writing her cringy social media posts. I mean, if she just collected all of her social media posts together, she'd have a whole book. And if she wants to be a writer, then why is she always deleting her posts?
Posted. I'm going to read their name and then the question. Up first. So I will try to do my best to make these questions make sense because not everything is written, I'll say, in proper English. And if you don't know the answer, then we can just skip it. Or if it's too vague, we can skip it. So Apple Pie has the question of, how do you feel the same as other BBW if you do? And how do you feel differently if you do?
This is going to be funny because I have a feeling most of the questions are going to be sexually oriented because it's a show about, quote, BBWs. So the first question is already so absurd. This is a question that can only be answered in character. When I say in character, I mean like somebody playing the role of a porn actress. Because how are you different than other BBWs? How are you the same? He means sexually. He wants her to talk about how, oh, well, you know, I like the same things. I like a lot of foreplay, and that's what he wants to hear. Let's hear what she actually says.
So basically, how do I feel in comparison to BBWs, whether different or in comparison with, right?
Take it however you want to take it. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the day,
Mhm.
I think like, you know, the terms BBW, SSBBW, I use them. I'm not offended by them, but I am not just a porn category.
Right.
That's not what he wanted to hear. That's not what he wanted to hear, Rosie. You're supposed to do this in character, and you're supposed to pretend you're like flattered by the talk. You're supposed to act like you really like this. You're not supposed to act like you're not supposed to act like you have a personality outside of porn. You're supposed to pretend that you're supposed to be in character.
You know?
Absolutely.
And so, like, for me, you know, I believe that like the struggles and plights of the modern woman, and you know, in that hit those weight categories, is a very nuanced topic. And I think that we all share the same experience of having to consistently confront and overcome the stigmas within the Americanized beauty standards. I really think that that's something that we all have in common.
Absolutely.
That whether you choose to be ignorant to it or not, whether you choose to participate in those narratives, that's your choice. You know, but we all, whether we admit to it or not, experience it, or whether we put the effort into acknowledging it or not. Because we all will walk out of a room and have people comment that's behind our back. We all will walk in, you know, especially if you're someone of my size, we'll all walk into a room and we'll go into a restaurant and have to instantly survey, what's the seating like? Who's here?
What's the seating like? Yeah, oh man, I'm sorry for I mean, and that's one thing I want to point out also, for anybody who's new here. I make fun of Rosie for being fat, but I don't make fun of her because she's fat.
Are there any large groups of teenage boys? Because
they're jerks.
Those
Yeah.
yeah. You know, like,
from the age of about 12 to like 17. Yeah, that's the biggest jerk. The range. Yeah.
No, I was walking because I have a very intense like Pokemon Go habit. I walked to a church that has like a courtyard and all this stuff that's not far from where I live. And there was like some teenage boys biking around, and I'm literally walking and like playing Pokemon, and they bike by me, and I couldn't even hear what they said. But I was recording myself on Instagram stories, and you could hear them yelling something at me, and I think I picked up a word that they were clearly.
Maybe they wanted to know your OnlyFans. Now they probably were saying one-ton woman.
Like,
just being stupid. They were just being stupid. Yeah, they're just being stupid.
Like, I'm quite literally doing a physical activity right now.
Right. Right.
I'm just grabbing a seltzer, y'all.
Like, shit, man. Can't fucking win anything.
Right.
So, in that regard, I don't really know.
Oh, they know what they said? They said, good job getting out there. Any of my glitter lasers viewers know that one. Good job getting out there, Rosie.
In what ways I would differ, but beyond the fact that we all have our own unique experiences in lives, and we're not really. I think sometimes I struggle with the balance of like not wanting to define myself too much by my weight, but feeling pride in the fact that I love myself as much as I do.
Right.
Because I worked hard. Fucking hard to get to that point.
I know that's
Even
right.
in the depths and darkness of depression and trauma, the fact that foundation.
How many times does she mention trauma in this video? I'm gonna go later. I should look through the transcript and do a search on the computer. It's gonna be at least 20.
Exists is something that a lot of people don't have.
Right.
And I worked really, really hard to get mine, and so for that, like, I'm constantly thankful.
100%, dude. Having a strong mental health is absolutely, because
she's so grateful for the strength that she's built up. She's so much stronger than the average person now because she's dealt with so much. She's so strong, so brave.
Like you say, even if you
never said my mental health is strong.
Right. No. I got you. No, but being able to see yourself in a positive light, that's like 90% of the battle. Especially climbing over that mountain, climbing over that hill. Even people who are, on any side of the weight spectrum, whether it's underweight, midweight, overweight.
Absolutely.
If you don't love yourself, it won't matter what side of, what part of the spectrum you're on. So the fact that you love yourself is a huge. So
I think Rosie loves herself loves herself. She hates herself. But what she calls loving herself, she needs to back off, because what she calls love is destroying herself. What she calls self-love and self-care is really self-destruction. And also, let me take a moment here. Welcome you in, Sarah Marie. Good to see you. If you're having a great weekend. How many times has she mentioned how strong, how brave she is? Maybe left her house once in the last 6 months. Her agoraphobia, Sarah Marie, that's very difficult to live with. But apparently somebody bought her a P.O. box and that cured her agoraphobia. Literally wallowing it. The same way that she was wallowing in cake, now she's wallowing in victimhood.
It's so crazy. I just want to interject for a second because it's so crazy. There's this girl I went to high school with. We spent freshman year together and we reconnected in adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
When I knew her, and for a lot of her adult, years, she was like 90 pounds soaking wet. She was so tiny. And when we reconnected and stuff, I've watched her come into her body and learn how to love herself. And there were points where she was talking about how excited she was to gain weight and all these things because she started to put on a little bit more weight and
this is what the feeder wants to hear.
Something that she really struggled with. And she's talked about, her struggles with that, but she's also sat back and listened to me, listened to my experiences, and understands that
she listens to you. She understands you now. Oh my God. I almost for a second thought Rosie was going to say something about somebody else. No, it was just a chance for her to talk about herself.
Phobia is not equivalent to skinny shaming, and she understands that, but she also talks about her frustration because at the end of the day, while I do believe that there's a lot of systematic issues in regards to how fat people are treated that are not equivalent to that. It's important that we just stop fucking shaming women.
Right.
Like skinny or fat, and that's something I believe strongly in. And I've lost friends who are in the fat.
I actually agree with that to an extent. Of course, I agree that we shouldn't shame people for being big or being small if they're trying to be healthy. But if they're trying to push an unhealthy agenda, if they're encouraging other people to be unhealthy, like if somebody's promoting unsafe plastic surgery, that's not anything to be celebrated. If people are trying to get healthy, I don't think we should mock them. But that's very different from criticizing somebody who's pushing a very unhealthy message.
Because they don't want to take a moment to acknowledge that because of their own hurt and their own bias and their own pain. And trust me, I get it. That was me when I was like 22,
right?
But as years have gone on, I've gotten older and I've just turned 30 and all of that. I feel like my friendship with her taught me a lot, and having the ability to watch her also respect me and respect my experiences and see and understand how they're categorically different has really allowed me to view that within a different balance, I suppose.
Wow. That's dope, dude.
So
you say you guys still keep in contact as of today? Are you guys
so strong? Pervitin. I think that's what Stefan takes. Pervitin. No, Pervitin. I heard that. I believe that was like an amphetamine, kind of. The one woman show, the 1 ton 1 woman show.
Yeah, she did them to me like today.
Okay.
She's awesome.
Get you.
Yeah.
So do you
Great girl.
Do you guys?
Shout out to Courtney.
Shout out to you, Courtney. I'm gonna bounce to the next question really quickly. Oh, this is hilarious. Well, not hilarious, but it's right in the tune of what we were talking about. So this is from Jovis.
Oh,
Jovi, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, shouts out to Jovi. I was going to try to do the whole name, but hey.
Is Jovi one of her clients?
Jovi. So Jovi said, what do you do when you're not feeling your best to help boost your mood?
I love things that look. Well, the first thing that came to my head is like things that smell good, like vanilla sprays.
So you like to. So you don't want to smell yourself. You want to smell somebody else.
Incense.
So you'd have like a sensory. You like to have like a sensor.
I was gonna say yes, like changing the sensory input to like positive things, like depending on what causing the mental issues
She likes to smell food.
or having those moments. Sometimes like cooking or doing something with food helps. Sometimes
Cooking, doing something with food. Thank you for being honest, Rosie. I did call that though.
Makes it worse because I've had a very long, drawn out, difficult battle with an eating disorder.
What? Hold on a second. We got a juicy bit here. We're probably going to start closing it down a little bit because I did do the member stream earlier, so I'm a little bit tired out. But we are going to zoom in on this little tidbit here where she talks about her eating disorder. What's that?
Vanilla sprays, incense.
So you'd have like a sensory. You like to have like a
I was
sensor.
gonna say yes, like changing the sensory input
to
like positive things, like depending on what's causing the mental issues, like or having those moments. Sometimes like cooking or doing something with food helps. Sometimes it makes it worse because I've had a very long, drawn out, difficult battle with an eating disorder for many years.
You don't say.
The majority of my life. And in recent years, it had actually flipped from more exclusively, like I've been diagnosed with binge eating disorder, but it's flipped more. So
it's amazing. Rosie wants a diagnosis for autism. She wants a diagnosis for She wants a diagnosis for what was the other one she wanted to diagnose for? She wanted to diagnose for autism and a few other things. Fibromyalgia, that one. Excuse me. But the one thing she does have a diagnosis for, which is her eating problems, she's doing absolutely nothing to help that. Why won't she get help for the things she has diagnoses for instead of seeking new diagnoses constantly?
When I went through some scarcity stuff, like running into anorexia. And so when I was like 500 pounds and anorexic, like, no one gave a fuck.
She was anorexic? YouTube censors are going to get me. But you know what? Screw it. It's worth it. We got to cover this.
It had actually flipped from more exclusively, like I've been diagnosed with binge eating disorder, but it's flipped more. So when I went through some scarcity stuff, like running into anorexia.
So she went from binge eating disorder to anorexia. You know, and Rosie may not realize this, but there's a significant weight loss component involved in anorexia, or at the very least, maintaining underweight status. You can't be this big and be anorexic for very long.
And so when I was like 500 pounds and anorexic, like no one gave a fuck.
When you were 500 pounds and anorexic, you were a liar. That's why no one gave an F. No one. If anybody noticed it, it was only to call you out as a liar. You're not a 500 pound anorexic. Is it possible? Maybe. I'm not a doctor, but you are not it, Rosie. If there's such a thing as a 500 pound anorexic, it is not Rosie.
Running into anorexia. And so when I was like 500 pounds and anorexic.
This is insulting to anybody who's ever dealt with a real eating disorder. This is absolutely insulting. And I include binge eating with that as well. But all eating disorders. This is insulting. This is absolutely disgusting. Rosie, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're just the worst. You're the worst.
No one gave a fuck. Even though I was like literally passed out at work and like all these things happened to me. When you're fat and you're dealing with anorexia,
she passed out at work. It's Rosie. It's not anorexia. It's called skipping meals. Healthy people do that all the time. And if you passed out at work, it was from diabetes. It wasn't from skipping a meal.
Right. It's one of the most fucked up mental games I've ever experienced. And so for me, you know, thinking about that question and stuff, it's just like anything that I can do, like I've got a list. Like, I mean, sometimes it's as simple as I need to turn my brain off and I'm going to just disassociate and watch TikTok for an hour or watch a comfort TV show like How I Met Your Mother or do my makeup or watercolor paint.
Notice how she doesn't say wash her hair.
Or call a friend and just bitch, you know, whatever. I just try to listen to my spirit and try to like connect with what's making me feel wrong to see if there's something I can do to right it. And if I can't right it, if I can't change it, then the best thing that I can do is just take a beat. And even if you need to just ignore it for a minute, you can always revisit it.
Right.
I would say that's good advice coming from anybody else. I mean, basically, it's one of the few things she said in this show that isn't like totally insane, but she doesn't follow her own advice. That advice that she just gave was not the worst, but she would never actually follow it, so it's irrelevant.
And because sometimes distraction is a really, really pivotal, important coping skill.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be abused. So that's something that I've had to like
What was
kind
that
of
she said?
Yeah.
But sometimes distraction is a really
Distraction.
pivotal, important coping skill.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can be abused. So
Right.
that's something that I've had to like kind of work with on that.
I got you, dude. That's dope. That's really dope. Shouts out to you then. Yeah, I've definitely since I've tried the whole like working from home thing, being able to compartmentalize and being able to like, okay, I just need a minute away from this before I come back to it. It's definitely huge. I definitely agree 100% with that. The next question, I'm gonna skip over that one.
He's gonna skip that one. What? Would anybody want to take a guess what that question was? I bet that one is, how much do you weigh? What's your size? How much do you weigh? What's your size? I bet that was the question. Or it was something sexual, and he just realized that she's not going to answer any of those kind of questions the way he wants her to, so he's just going to skip it.
Dude, some of these questions are right in line with what we're talking about. A question from Milla Mystic. There we go. Milla Mystic. There we go. Milla Mystic.
Milla My Stick
says, how do you find courage to start posting actively on social media?
Ooh, that kind of touches to what I was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of time and healing for me.
Healing, between healing and trauma and healing from trauma. I think that's like 20% of the word she uses.
Because that relates back to the trauma.
Trauma, there you go, relates back to the trauma.
Like, I wasn't just posting on Reddit. I'm like scared to say some of these websites. I don't want to resurrect these forums. I don't.
This is not sped up, by the way. This is not sped up. This is normal time. She is talking a mile a minute. She is probably on some Adderall here, because she does not act like this normally. Unless she's exceptionally nervous. I think she's on something, because she is a mile a minute. She does not usually act like this.
It took a lot of time and healing for me.
Because
that relates back to the trauma.
Relates back to the trauma.
Like, because at the end of the day, like, I wasn't just posting on Reddit. I'm like scared to say some of these websites. I don't want to resurrect these forums. I don't.
Right.
But
the trauma from Reddit.
There's just like a lot of these like scuzzy, like hole in the wall forums.
Yeah.
Places like, I'm not even gonna say the names, honestly.
Yeah, don't give them a shout out. Yeah, don't give them any promotion.
These really, these forums dedicated to basically being ableist, shitty incels, and racist, xenophobic, incel behavior.
Just gotta say incel twice. Just gotta say incel twice.
It's just like, I had people just talking about how excited they were for me to die.
Jeez.
These people can't just be normal people who are disgusted with you, Rosie. They have to be, what'd she say, racist, xenophobic, incels. What part of disliking Rosie is xenophobic? What part of disliking Rosie is racist? I mean, if you're a white person, how can it be racist to dislike Rosie?
And I swear on my life, my crime back then was being opinionated, being a woman, being fat, and being public on the internet.
Your crimes are too numerous to list, Rosie. You're just an awful person. Your crimes are lying. Your crimes are faking. Your crimes are detracting from people with real issues. Your crimes are encouraging others. Your crimes are grifting. Your crimes are manipulating. Your crimes are making up false allegations about parents and about children and about others.
Yeah, you know what? I'm sure I could have been bratty sometimes. I'm sure I was wrong in certain like minor social situations. I'm sure that I was possibly cringy or annoying. Absolutely.
Right.
None of that warranted what the fuck happened.
No, seriously.
And so for that experience to happen and leave the internet, what initially got me the courage when I was like,
oh, of course, Nutty. I was just kind of joking there for a second. I mean, she's clearly just full of crap. Talks about xenophobia and racism and sexism and all this stuff. I mean, she just wants to use other people as a shield. So she's using the racism thing because she wants to be like, oh, if you don't like racism, then you need to support me. She's doing that thing where she's trying to virtue signal to try to get people to support her by insinuating that everybody who critiques her must be a racist. They must be a sexist. They must be an incel. She demonizes others to such an extent that you can't take her seriously.
In my early 20s, it was actually before what's the word? Instagram.
Mm.
I posted on like more fat positive subreddits, ironically.
Mm.
And so like ones with the terms like BBW and other things.
Right. I know what you mean.
And so
He knows what you mean. He's very familiar with the fat positive BBW Reddits. Ohio BBW Network here. He absolutely knows about the BBW Reddit.
that was one of the first times that I was ever hyped up on my appearance ever.
Oh, that was an awesome feeling for you.
Yeah, it was a little addicting.
He's probably like thinking, "Oh man, I posted that. You know, I'm the one who said I thought you looked like a giant marshmallow in a good way."
You know? So for me, it was like okay, because like I mean, I quite literally. The first time I ever
the compliments she got on the BBW forum, they were like, "Oh, you look like you can't even move. That's hot."
BBW was I had just turned 18 and gotten access to the chat rooms on Yahoo Messenger, and I was going through.
Shout out Yahoo Messenger.
Yeah. Gonna date myself a second.
Yes.
This was like in 2010 though,
Okay.
so I was just like late to the game.
I got you.
Now, so I was like going through all these things, and all of them made sense. I was like, you know, I know interracial meet, like that makes sense. Like, what I'm oldies, okay, old people got it. But then there was BBW, and I'm like sitting there, like a fat, brand new 18-year-old, and I'm like, what's this?
I think it's very disturbing that at age 18, basically the day she turned 18, she immediately put herself onto these sites where people are selling sexual services. People are advertising porno. I mean, I'm not naive. I understand that kids will be exposed to this kind of stuff too young, but that doesn't make it okay, right? It doesn't make it all right for her to be doing that. So, I mean, technically she is an adult at 18, but she is so mentally immature that she absolutely was not ready for that environment. I don't know if that caused her any further trauma, as she likes to put it, but even though it's so funny, she talks all this about trauma all the time. One of the things that might have actually traumatized her was going onto that network, BBW network at age 18 and being exposed to all those perverted men. That might actually have been like a traumatizing thing for her, but she doesn't even mention that.
Click on it, and I sit back and I'm like reading, and I'm like, I don't know what this is. So I literally was like, what does BBW mean?
Timo!
And
best comment of the night, Timo. Thank you for pointing that out. How did I miss that? In the other interview, she talks about how she was groomed into feederism at age 20. She talks about how she was groomed into feederism at age 20 or in her 20s by one of her boyfriends or by her stalker or something. And here she acknowledges basically the day she turned 18, she joined these feeder websites. She joined it basically on her own as soon as she was 18. She just confessed to it all. Wow. So groomed she was that she independently went onto those sites at age 18.
Like, they said big, beautiful woman. And so my response, and this is a little sad, my response was, wait, people actually like fat people? Really sad, I acknowledge that. And so they thought I was trolling, right? So they started, and I started panicking. I was like, no, wait, you don't understand. I'm 18 and I'm fat. So then my DMs blew up.
Right, of course. Of course.
Not a spam bot.
Right. That was the horrible thing for you to say. Yeah, I'm sure you got flooded.
Yeah. Fun fact, that's how I lost my virginity.
That's how she quote lost her virginity. That's not a good thing, Rosie. Losing your virginity to some anonymous pervert is not a flex. Like, I'm not trying to shame anybody for how they choose to engage sexually, but I don't think that's like a positive environment to explore your sexuality. A bunch of creepy weirdos who want to exploit you just because you're young and naive.
Like I say, shout out Yahoo Messenger.
It's probably him.
So yeah, that's his own fucking story. I'm not getting into it because my parents might watch this, and no. But anyway.
Oh man. Hashtag Yahoo Messenger. That's gonna be description of this episode.
Crazy. I was such a good.
And speaking of joining questionable sites, questionable influences on the internet, I would like to thank everybody who has joined my channel as a member. You're all very much appreciated. And I would like to give a personalized shout out to the Tier 2 channel members we currently have, both Canada Cool and the Glitter Flyers. Files 69. Thank you so much to all of the channel members, and thank you so much to all of the viewers. You've been fantastic audience today. We've been an amazing chat. We've had a lot of great comments, so I really do appreciate that. I'm always happy to engage. All right, let's get back to this podcast. We're probably going to be shutting it down pretty soon, but this is such an interesting bit. I want to keep it going.
Kid, like that was honestly, ironically, that's the catalyst of like how I ended up leaving Mormonism. I was already questioning.
So that's how she left Mormonism. Mormonism was so terrible that being groomed, or I shouldn't say groomed, being propositioned by anonymous creeps 3 times your age on the internet, that was positive. That was empowering. Having a Mormon deacon ask you if you were sexually active, that was creepy and weird. But men 3 times your age propositioning you sexually, that was empowering. Make it make sense, folks. The Mormon church was abusive to her and made her feel bad because they asked her if she was sexually active, but she's being exploited by men on the internet 3 times her age, and she thinks that was a good experience, losing her virginity like that. She is so mentally deranged.
Couple years, but
these weird guys on the internet, this is not, that was not I'm not saying that either one of those was good. My point is that for her to say that this was such a positive, these were weird dudes. These weren't like men who loved you.
It was ironically that Yahoo message board was like
that was the catalyst that kicked it all off.
Led to a shift and led to the last time I ever went to church, and where I was like, this is not for me. This is not who I am.
Yeah, the church sucked. I'd much rather go to those anonymous message boards and have, men old enough to be my father propositioning me for anonymous sex. That's so much more empowering and not at all degrading.
Clearly oblivious and ignorant. I thought Mormons were I thought it was based in Utah, but you said you were based in Georgia.
So the reason why there's that stereotype is, first of all, I swear to God, I think Utah is 90% Mormons, and I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
But basically back in I guess the pioneer days, essentially, all the Mormons trailed up to Utah and settled there, essentially.
And I'm not trying to defend the Mormon church. I know very little about it. It sounds like it could be a little bit strict in some ways. So I'm not trying to defend anything like that. But I will say that Rosie's, leaving it so that you could be exploited by men 3 times your age on the internet, I don't think that's an improvement.
And they built Brigham University and all that. So yeah, they're global. There's there's Mormon churches in almost every country.
I was just gonna ask that. So you guys had a Mormon church, or were you guys worshiping at home? Wow.
There was tons of Mormon churches. There's tons of Mormon churches. If you just go on Google, wherever you live, I'm sure they're just as prevalent as Christian, because it's a branch of Christianity, but they're just as prevalent as Baptist or Catholic churches.
Right.
In the United States, they're everywhere.
I'm gonna have to look up because now I am curious.
I don't personally.
That's awful.
It, but
that's awful. We shouldn't stereotype all people, but that is an awful experience, though. Certainly not a good thing to hear about.
And people that I care about that are Mormon, and I respect them, but
that's dope.
I have my own personal beliefs on why I don't agree with it.
No, I feel
you. I'm a bisexual.
I thought she was a cell-sexual
queer woman, and I did not fully come to terms with that until I was 27, even though I left church when I was 18.
Right.
So I really struggled with that, and it was kind of ironic. I quite literally had a very cliche conversation in high school where I was on the wrong side of history, and I was spouting off everything I'd been spoon-fed my whole life, and I was talking to this guy, and I was talking about Bible, this, that, whatever. And so this guy,
I think it's very telling that Rosie has always been so vocal about what she believes, but doesn't really seem to have very much understanding. Because she talks about it when she was younger, she was just quoting things her family told her, quoting things that she heard in church, and she was, 100% committed to that. And I feel like now she's doing the same, except stuff that she reads on TikTok. She's replaced the Bible with TikTok, but she's still holding to the dogma. She's just, literally clinging to what she's being told to say, except she's picked a different group of elders. Instead of church elders, she's going to listen to the TikTok elders. But she's still being manipulated by others and being taught what to say and taught what to believe. She's just decided to, to fall for a different group. But I don't think that's an improvement. It's like she's trading one set of problems for another.
He's getting increasingly frustrated with me because I'm wrong and I'm being stupid. And he eventually just goes, you know what I don't get is I don't understand why two people can't love each other. And I remember, I'll never forget the feeling of when I froze and I looked at him, and this quiet little voice, like this quiet little thought in my head of, I don't know either.
That is just so cliched. I don't believe that. She really wants to say that she spent years and years and years being, as she puts it, indoctrinated into religious belief, and it was all and just this one, and that one idea of why can't two people love each other, that just totally just shocked it all out of her. If that was enough to make you question everything you knew, then you probably didn't know anything very deeply.
And that was the moment that the glass.
Because that's something that would have come up at least once if you were truly, quote, being indoctrinated. That's something that would have come up. That's something that somebody would have expressed to you before that time. So it's just again, it's unbelievable. It's too perfect of a cliche. It sounds like something out of a movie, doesn't it? Like, this girl was so bigoted and hateful, and then all of a sudden, it sounds like a Dhar Mann video, right? Watch this bigot get owned by somebody, right? That's what it sounds like.
Shattered. That was the moment that I realized that everything I believed, everything I knew, was everything that I had just been taught to puppet. And as I started to question,
well, that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm just trying to, I want to just take an unbiased position here. But I do respect what you're saying.
More inquisitive and question my beliefs. I only got pushback. I only got pray about it. I only got read the Book of Mormon. I only got, it's God's way, whatever the hell they said.
Right.
And then
no satisfying answers.
The glass shattered. That's the only way I can explain it. And then I was never the same after that.
Yeah. That's usually the point. Whenever someone has a question that they feel like they're not actually getting answered, that they're getting the workaround, that's usually like you say, the catalyst for stepping away from something.
Does anybody else wonder if she was kicked out of the Mormon church? Because it seems like Rosie gets kicked out of every group she's a part of. And I'm wondering how much of her so-called religious epiphany was really just the Mormon church was like, hey, we don't want you here anymore. We don't like you. You're not good at this. You need to go. I could see that, because she's not the kind of person to be brave. She's not the kind of person to stand up to a group of people that she thinks are going to disagree with her. Rosie's the kind of person to go with the crowd until it becomes inconvenient, or until the crowd has enough of her. And I could see that. The more I think about it, the more I could see the Mormon I think about it, that she very well was, the same way she was kicked out of the porn community, she might have been kicked out of her religious community.
So let me see here. Sorry, let me get out of here. All right, so now we got rapid fire questions.
Okay, let's go.
Definitely not.
Welcome in, Rory.
So
I love that
what
pun.
is some of these are cut off, so unfortunately, guys, I can't say your name. What is the greatest obstacle you've had to overcome?
Greatest obstacle she's had to overcome. I'm gonna say like more than one stair. Anytime she has to climb like 2 stairs in a row, I'd say that's the greatest obstacle she's overcome. Because she might have actually climbed 2 stairs before.
Well, let me change the
Look at
question.
that look on her face. Look at that look on her face. Oh my God. That's such a perfect freeze frame.
Would you say that the greatest obstacle would be...
I got to screen cap this. Hold on. This is too perfect. Let me do this right. Okay, got to capture
a mental
that.
obstacle or a physical obstacle that you've had to overcome? Mental. Do you think...
Mental.
Do you think in 2015, if you were in a healthier headspace, that you would have ended up here where you currently are now? Or do you think you would be in a different position? Like back in 2015,
that's fair. I mean, it sounds like she didn't exactly come from the best experience either. I'm just saying that I don't think it was much of an improvement going to the BBW forums. You know, I feel like she jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire.
if you didn't have to deal with, you know, a stalker basically trying to kill you and putting out your information and sabotaging basically your entire life.
I just want to be clear. I don't think he ever tried to actually kill me.
Right.
Maybe he had this weird.
He tried to feed you to death.
He's a self-proclaimed sociopath, and he had this weird fascination with.
So his sociopathy is about as real as your autism.
Using TBIs and traumatized women because he thought it was scientifically possible. Whether it is or not, I'm not sure, but that's what he thought.
So believed in some unscientific crap. No wonder you were a good couple.
And he had essentially what I think was more or less a wet dream of doing that to his ex, and that was put onto me when I finally got the courage to block him last year. When he hacked my Cash App and cloned my phone number and all that. That was fun.
Hacked your Cash App, cloned your phone number. Everything about this is questionable because the basis of the story, anybody unfamiliar, she had a quote online boyfriend for 8 years, and she also had an online stalker, except she would visit the stalker and have sex with him, and the boyfriend was just somebody she talked to online. But yet she considered the boyfriend to be the guy she never met, and the stalker was the guy she actually met and had sex with. It doesn't make any sense on any level, and it kind of cheapens and mocks the very idea of being stalked. Like it's a real thing, Rosie. It's kind of messed up that you're going to use it as just to turn into a joke.
Jeez, people are psychotic. Yeah,
I told you, my life is crazy. I'm many things. I'm not bored.
I'm about to say you could do the autobiography. You could do like 4 or 5 movies off that, man. Jeez, that is.
That's so funny you said that. I've literally said I've lived like 3 or 4 Lifetime movies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
She's watched 3 or 4 Lifetime movies, and she's claimed to have lived all of them. She's lived 3 or 4 Lifetime movies. This girl has absorbed those movies and has decided she's the star.
Literally tried to kill himself in front of me. So
he literally tried in front of you. Well, did he succeed?
Goodness, we're definitely
By the way, that's something that like traumatized people do is you say really fucked up things and then just laugh. It's a joke. It's fine.
Right.
I mean, yes, there's such a thing as gallows humor, but it feels a lot of times like Rosie just is being inappropriate.
No, I'm in the dark humor, so I'm definitely
right.
I laugh at anything anyway.
A little more mindful because, that's why I mentioned the trigger warning in the beginning. Because it's just like, listen, I'm a walking trigger warning, to be honest.
I hope people
walking trigger warning.
Who
that is, to be fair, that's one of the few things she said I will definitely agree with. She is a walking trigger warning. Although she's not walking, she's a sitting trigger warning, but she's still a trigger warning.
Just realize that I say crazy things all the time. So if you're watching this right now and you think that this is going to be all roses and daisies, just stop watching now. Just please shut it off.
I kind of miss her.
Like with 2018 and stuff, like that stuff was impactful, but in the tears of trauma, that's seriously like lower, like 5, 6.
Really?
So, because I haven't even mentioned the really shitty things because.
What?
I'm in a good mood.
Oh, he hasn't even mentioned the bad stuff. So in other words, the stalker and the men being imprisoned in the mental hospital and having to go to the hospital where the demographic was, as she put it, too much. Those weren't even bad. The real bad stuff, she hasn't even told us yet.
And, so I don't want to go there.
Let's
kind of touched on them in the beginning when this was a little heavier, but
right. Oh my goodness.
But
baby, come back.
With surviving multiple types of sexual assault and things like watching someone like try to trigger warning, slit their own throat, things like that, and physically being the person to stop them, stuff like that.
What? So she saved somebody's life by stopping them from slitting their own throat? This interview has so many good like little tidbits in here. She had a stepchild. She stopped somebody from slitting their own throat. She was anorexic at 400 pounds. What other little bits did we find out today? There were a lot of good little bits in here. Some others. I mean, I'll watch my replay later. But man, this was a juicy one.
Right.
Internet bullies can suck a dick.
Right. Right. That's nothing at this point. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, like, oh, you're big and bad behind your keyboard. Oh, you're such a big boy.
Right.
Thank you.
I think you got it 100%, Nutty. It was like a role play kind of thing where she wanted to be able to tell her boyfriend that she wasn't cheating. She wanted to be able to play out this weird fantasy where she'd be like, "Oh, boyfriend, I love you so much, but this guy forces me to go have sex with him and I don't know what to do. Do you forgive me?" Of course I forgive you, Rosie. I'll send you some more food. "Oh, but he forces me to go visit him."
People
The
online are
part that made
hilarious.
that the scariest was I had someone like in the inside of my life.
Right,
spent
in real
hours and
life,
hours
right.
on video chat before I realized he was who he was.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, that's scary. Like, it's one thing to have to deal with trolls online, but to have somebody in your actual life that's feeding the trolls online, yeah, that's scary.
The only person feeding the trolls is Rosie. And I'm surprised she has any food left for them, but she loves to feed trolls almost as much as she loves to feed herself. She always does those videos where she goes on and talks about how, yeah, some people, the trolls, they sent food to my house, they sent this to my house, and it really upset me, and I wish they would stop. Cry, cry. I'm not, and I just want to make it clear, I don't support IRL trolling. I don't think that's cool. None of the reaction channels that I know do. None of us. There's a few main like reaction channels. There's me, Nikki T. Main react. Am I a main reaction channel? I'm gonna call myself a main reaction channel. I certainly cover this crap enough. There's Nikki T. There's Scarletters, and none of us. There's more than that, but like there's a whole bunch of other ones too. But none of us cover. None of us. Excuse me. None of us encourage any of that kind of crap that Rosie insinuates.
This is going on. There were other girls, some of which I was friends with, some of which I wasn't. One girl, we actually had a feud that the trolls were feeding. That was not fun.
Jeez.
But this these other girls, like I was friends with and all of that, they were experiencing the same thing I was, but even they were, and other people were like, there's something different about what's going on with you.
Yeah, the other girls were getting traumatized by the internet, but not like Rosie was. She had the real trauma. They just had like the like minimal trauma. Like, it wasn't bad, but what Rosie had, now that was bad. And they even told her, they said to her, what we're going through is bad, but nothing like what you have to deal with, Rosie. You have it so much worse than everybody else.
The level that this is going on is so personal and so bizarre. No one understood why, and eventually I figured it out.
Right.
What was it?
What
was figure out, Rosie?
Yeah, and then I did some like crazy shit last year. I tried to get the police involved, and it ended up boiling down.
Police involved? I thought she hated the police. I thought she thought the police were like oppressors of this capitalist system. They're the capitalist stormtroopers enforcing the laws, the discriminatory. I thought she hated the police. Why does she keep calling the police all the time? Is it to curse them out?
And I haven't had the chance to yet. I actually have family in Indianapolis, but if I essentially did something that I call reverse doxing. I went into one of his 100 plus fake Facebook profiles that I knew was him, and I said, I know this is you. I gave him all the information I got on the background check my friend ran on him, because one of my internet friends, somehow her mom dated his half brother at one point before he died. The half brother died.
Whoa.
And this was a crazy connection that I put together from one random conversation I had with him in like 2014 and a conversation I had with her. And then, so she actually paid for the background check and all of that, and we confirmed it. We confirmed that these two people were related, and basically like the person that the half brother did some really fucked up stuff. And it's not my business to share, but basically because of all that, I basically said, if you don't leave me alone, and if you don't back the fuck off, I will ruin your life.
Dang.
This is the most contrived story ever. So she got the stalker to leave her alone by saying she was going to, quote, ruin his life. I mean, if he's stalking you, his life is already ruined. To be fair, if he has a relationship with you, Roz, there's no lower for him to sink. What are you going to do? Go public and tell people you had sex with him? Oh, that's what it was. She was going to ruin his life by going public and saying, yes, this man, he is sexually attracted to me and he had sex with me. His whole life would have been destroyed at that point. Nobody would ever take him seriously ever again. So in fairness, she wasn't totally wrong on that. I think we're going to wind it down here. There's about 15, 20 minutes left, but I'm just a little bit worn out. I did the member stream before this, and I just had a lot going on. So we are going to close it down. But I had a wonderful time, folks. You've been a fantastic audience. Oh, Jizzo! Darn it! Just right as I'm closing it down. Well, sorry that missed you, but next time, I guess. We got the replay for you. It's a good replay. You'll like it. But welcome in, Jizzo. Sorry, ended it right now. There you go. Make sure to bait those trolls and rage. Oh, no worries. No worries. I'm the one who had to reschedule, so it's my fault, right? I've rescheduled like twice this week. Right? Threatened, exactly. Very welcome, Hell's Ice Supply. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Be sure to hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed the stream. And be sure to hit that subscribe bell if you'd like to see more of this content. Oh, you're very welcome, Joey. Oh, you too, Nutty. Bye-bye. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will see y'all on Wednesday, I hope. If for some reason I don't, don't blame me. I've had a lot going on lately. A lot with the family and stuff. But if I do miss, I always try to make it up, right? That's what I say. So I miss some occasion, but I make them up. Bye-bye, Drella. Yes, absolutely, everybody. And bye-bye, JB. Bye-bye to anybody else who was here earlier. We had Wicked Weird Wednesday, James Brightman, Kidney J. We had a whole bunch of people here earlier. I'm probably going to forget a few, but thank you, everybody who came by. Been a fantastic chat. Timo, Sarah Marie. You go back here, see if there's anybody else. Yeah, thank you so much. Miss Connie. We're going back in here looking to see who else was here in the early. All right, I think that's basically it. If I did miss anybody, hope you had a wonderful weekend.